Hello, today we're going to be replacing the air filters on a McLaren 12C. So we're going to show you step by step. So let's get started. Now, a couple of safety tips. We're going to be lifting up the car with the jack. As a matter of fact, I did the other side with a regular floor jack from Harbor Freight. It did the job perfectly. Of course, you always want to get a jack stand or do all the safety things you need to do to stay safe. But in this situation, we're going to be lifting up this side using the OEM jacking points for a new manufacturer. Typically, there's supposed to be a sticker underneath there, but it's a flat area. You could see some sticker residue most of the time. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be loosening the lug nuts on the car first. And what I have is I have a deep socket 17 millimeter. And what we're going to be doing is using a long breaker bar because they're on there. They have about 95 foot-pounds. So let's go ahead and break the lug nuts and get the car lifted up. So I'm going to be using my new Daytona jack from Harbor Freight. I've got a puck on it so I could add a little bit of distance between the two. Okay, so I loosened the lug nuts and I took out 4 of them, but I want to show you my little trick. I loosened it, but I didn't pull it out. And check this out, guys. I use a magnet, but I put my hand underneath it so it doesn't fall, and I'm able to get the bolt. All right, being careful with the rotor, I'm taking the wheel off and I'm slowly walking it back. So with this job, we're just not going to replace the air filters. We're actually going to be cleaning this fender well. It's kind of like a fabric-y material, but what we need to do is we need to remove these bolts, and they're 10 millimeter. And what I recommend is when you take one off, just set it somewhere that resembles where you took it off, because that's going to help you just put them back where they belong. Now, there is a little housekeeping rule here. Over here on this side, we have the TPS sensor. We're not going to undo these screws right here because when we pull it down, we get just disconnected. So let's go ahead and get these bolts out. So we got them all off, and I personally used that bad boy. But when we took them off, they left their washers. I would say about half of them left their washers on the actual fender liner. So when you're going to remove it, just be aware that you're going to have to get those washers and put them with the bolts. But this definitely needs cleaning. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to talk to McLaren and see how much these bolts are, because a couple of the ones that I have are just a little dirty and they're showing tiny signs of rust. So if I could replace that hardware, that would be nice. But let's go ahead and continue moving. Now it's time for us to pull back the fender liner, but you have to remember we have that TPS monitor sensor thingy, and we want to make sure that we don't yank it out because we need to disconnect it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slowly start prying on stuff. And as I did, some of the washers came down, which is kind of what we were expecting. And our goal, and if you run into anything that doesn't want to move, it just means that you probably missed a bolt. So just go back and check it. So again, I'm trying to look for the wire sensor. I'm going to use my light and I'm going to look inside it. And I see the actual sensor there. And my job is to disconnect the connector so we don't pull on it. And it's just a push and pull out. And now we can start slowly navigating this fender liner out. So let me go ahead and put this light down. And we're out. All right, so our helper and also co-owner of Driver's Therapy, Elise, she's going to be working on the fender liner, and what we have is we have a lint roller. As you can tell, it's helping with that, and we're also going to have a face towel where we're going to actually clean the inside of it, and we're going to make it look really nice. So we're going to get on that and go from there. All right, so besides the fender liner, this is a great time to vacuum this area. If you look over here, you see all those rocks, and over here as well on the upper control arm. You're also going to find a lot of rocks down here in these panels and in these areas. So what I'm going to do with my vacuum is I'm just going to go around and vacuum this area, but just to show you guys. do that all around this area and go from there. All right guys, it's time for us to remove the cover to where the air filter is at. So the cover's right here and we have 3 8mm bolts. So let's go ahead and take them off. All right, and we're now gonna go ahead and get this cover. We're just gonna pull it down and we're gonna expose our air filter. And what you do is you just grab it, you pull down, it's kind of snug on there. And then you could just pull it out and the air filter's out. So with the new air filter, we're just gonna slide it in, right? And the cool thing is that you just you get like a nice feel whenever it pops up. And that's it. Pretty straightforward. And now we're gonna put our top on, but I wanted to let you guys know that I actually vacuumed in here just to get anything that was possibly dirty, some dust. And we'll probably clean the back of this real quick. And then now we're gonna put our cover back on. Make sure everything lines up. It should feel good, like it should feel like it's naturally in there. And just start our bolts and then tighten it back up. And to tighten them down, what I do is I'm not even using a ratchet. It's just, you feel it. When they go down, you feel it when they stop, and that's it. It's gonna feel good, and you just leave it alone. So we wanted to show you the fender liner. At least did an amazing job. It looks nice and clean. It's gonna look as best as it can after 20,000 miles, but we're gonna go ahead and put this back on. All right, so putting on the fender liner, it's a little tricky, but if you go slow, and you'll be fine. So remember, the goal to our fender liner is going to be to connect our TPMS sensor. And I don't know if you guys can see, but essentially with my right hand, I have the connector. You guys won't be able to see this because now it's hidden. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna connect the plug to the sensor, and it's connected. So at this point in time, you don't wanna pull down on the fender liner because you don't wanna disconnect it or pull on that wire. So once that's on there, you just wanna make sure you start installing stuff. So we're gonna put this back on and go from there. And that's it, guys. Just to recap, we took the wheel off, we cleaned up the fender, we made sure we keep track of our hardware, we replaced our air filter, we vacuumed around the area, we cleaned up, we made sure we reattached the TPMS sensor, we put up the fender liner, we made sure we got all our hardware on there, and we're pretty much good to go. Well, thank you for watching the video. We really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to follow along for more videos about our McLaren. We also have a lot more other cool cars here in the channel, so browse around our videos because we have some cool stuff. Well, thank you. You guys stay safe, take care, and we'll talk to you soon.